Today, we're diving into one writer's very specific, very detailed argument for the existence of a creator. It's a fascinating take that pulls from ancient philosophy, but also leans on modern science and technology to build its case. So let's unpack it.
You know, it's pretty much the oldest question we've ever asked, right? Is there something more out there? A guiding hand, a grand design, some kind of power running the show behind the scenes? This is the huge question that kicks off everything we're about to explore.
So the perspective we're digging into today comes from a 2007 essay by a writer named Shui Fang. And he doesn't just ask the question and leave it hanging. He sets out to answer it with a really structured argument for what he calls the greatest creator.
Okay, so where does he even start? Well, not with some brand new, shocking revelation. He actually grounds his whole idea in a concept that's been around for thousands of years.
He starts with the traditional concept of heaven, especially from Confucianism. And he argues this isn't just some dusty old theory. He claims it comes from real, lived experience. He even says that if you ask anyone over 60, at least half of them will tell you they've personally felt this power in their lives.
And here's the first really crucial connection he makes. For his entire argument, whenever he talks about the greatest creator, he's really talking about this ancient concept of heaven. In his mind, they are one and the same. All right, let's get into his evidence. This is where he tries to build his case, not through faith, but through things we can actually see and observe. He uses some cool analogies from both technology and the natural world to point toward an intelligent designer.
His first example is something we can all picture, a high-tech CNC machine. You know, one of those amazing automated machines that cuts and shapes metal with mind-blowing precision all by itself. So he asks a pretty straightforward question. Do we just assume the machine is naturally brilliant? Of course not. We know, without a doubt, that someone had to design it, build it, and program it with the code that tells it exactly what to do. Okay, so now he takes that exact same logic and points it at the natural world. And his big example is the honeycomb. It's just this perfect, incredibly efficient, repeating hexagonal structure.
And this is where he gets really specific. He zooms in on the base of each little cell, which is angled at precisely this number. Now, that's not random. Scientists have actually calculated that this exact angle is the perfect design. It creates the strongest possible structure while using the least amount of wax. It is mathematically perfect.
So, this is his big gotcha question. Are bees secretly masters of geometry and calculus, figuring all this out on their own? Or, just like that CNC machine, is there a programmer behind the scenes? A guiding intelligence that embedded this perfect design right into their instincts?
So after laying out his evidence, the author's tone kind of shifts. He goes from presenting his case to directly challenging anyone who's still skeptical. And he does it with a few classic, hard-hitting philosophical questions.
First up, he hits him with the whole infinite regress problem. You know, if every effect has a cause, and that cause has a cause, and so on, what started the whole chain reaction? What was the very first domino to fall? Next, he looks at the bigger picture, the laws of physics, the predictable orbits of planets, the way the whole universe seems to run on a set of rules. He asks, who or what set up that order? And finally, the big one, why? Is there any ultimate purpose to all of this? He basically uses these questions to argue that just shrugging your shoulders and saying, that's just how it is, isn't a satisfying answer. And all of that leads us to the absolute heart of his essay. After arguing that a creator exists, he gets super specific about defining exactly what this creator is. This is really his unique contribution. He proposes that this greatest creator has 8 main characteristics. Let's run through them. It's unique, meaning there's only one. It's formless, so no physical body. It's neutral, beyond concepts like male or female. It's mysterious, meaning we can't ever fully understand it. And then it has 4 core attributes: justice, benevolence, supernatural power, and wisdom. This 8-point list is his entire framework. And he has a brilliant way to explain this idea of neutrality and justice. He says, the creator is like the sun. The sun doesn't pick favorites. It shines down on everyone equally. The warmth and light you get depends on your own actions, whether you decide to stand in the sunshine or hide in the shade. It's an impartial, universal force. So, what does he do with this 8-point definition? Well, he basically turns it into a measuring stick. He uses it as a standard to compare and even critique other concepts of God that you find in major religions. And here's how he breaks it down. His greatest creator is neutral and formless, but he argues that other concepts, like the God of the Old Testament or Krishna, are personified, often as male. He says they don't have all 8 of his required characteristics, and sometimes have very human-like qualities, and he even cites Krishna having over 16,000 wives as an example.
This quote right here really nails his central criticism. For him, the fundamental mistake is what's called anthropomorphism, giving this ultimate formless power human traits, a human gender, or human-like desires. He sees any attempt to do that as a complete misunderstanding of what it truly is.
So, after this whole detailed argument, how does he wrap things up? Well, his final challenge is probably not what you'd expect. It's not a call to convert or to just have blind faith.
He's very clear about this. He doesn't expect you to just read his essay and believe everything overnight. Instead, his final challenge to the reader, and to us really, is to not just dismiss it, but to use your entire life as a journey to verify and realize this truth for yourself. It's a personal quest. And he leaves us with this really powerful philosophical thought. The idea is that the journey of trying to understand this truth is so profound, so meaningful, that even if you only grasped it for a single moment, it would make an entire lifetime worthwhile. It's a memorable idea to chew on, focusing less on doctrine and more on that personal journey of discovery.